pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the work session, November 20th, 2023 here at Town Hall. Ask the Secretary Treasurer to call the roll, please.
Scott Harwitz, President.
I'm here.
William Pell, Secretary Treasurer, is here. Edward J. Warner Jr.
Present.
Ann Walker.
Here.
And Mr. Parrish.
Present.
All right,
Ready to go.
ready to go. Okay, let's jump right into it. All right, see you got a pile of files here for us to go over for the waterfowl hunting location.
Okay, first up is for you, Scott. It's Mark Cotier and John Scott.
Okay. We have some type of a letter.
We have a letter. It says, "To whom it may concern, I'm writing to sincerely apologize for the oversight and not filing the necessary paperwork for mine and my father-in-law's duck blind in a timely manner. I understand the importance of adhering to the proper procedures, and I deeply regret any inconvenience this may have caused. The duck blind in question has been in my father-in-law's name for over 20 years. Unfortunately, this year has been particularly challenging for our family." He was very emotional, which is now making me very emotional.
Do you want me to read it, Lise?
Yeah, if you would, Andy. Sorry, I didn't think it would do that to me.
Or we could,
This year has been particularly challenging for our family due to my father-in-law's health issues. In March, he underwent foot surgery followed by hospitalization in August. Subsequently, he began cancer treatments this fall. The health and well-being of my father-in-law took precedence during these trying times. It led to this unintentional lapse in filing the required paperwork. I want to emphasize that I genuinely believe that I had submitted the necessary paperwork for the duck blind. However, upon a recent review of records, I realized this had not occurred. I took full responsibility for this oversight. I understand the importance of adhering to the rules and regulations governing the duck blind process. I deeply regret any inconvenience or confusion that may have arisen as a result of this situation. I am committed to rectifying this matter promptly and ensuring that all required paperwork is submitted in accordance with the Town of Southampton's guidelines moving forward. I kindly request your understanding and forgiveness for this mistake. Please let me know the appropriate steps to rectify the situation. I will immediately take the necessary action to ensure that our duck blind is properly registered and in compliance with all regulations. Once again, I apologize for the inconvenience. Thank you for understanding and assistance in resolving this matter.
He was generally upset.
and you have everything.
Yep, he
Did
has
the-
everything, and
I just have a question. Did the Bay Constables get back to us on this one?
on this one they
This
did,
one? Okay.
yes.
I
And
just want to make a mention to the board that we were a little bit late to send some of these in this whole stack to the Bay Constables, and on top of that, Richard was on vacation, so some of these don't quite have Bay Constable recommendation yet, but we wanted to at least present them to you and hold the ones that don't have the Bay Constable recommendation yet.
Okay.
Okay.
And I sent this right off, and Rich was absolutely, he's never
Yeah.
been, these guys have never
Yeah.
been late.
No,
before.
it's
That's fine.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Fine.
is fine. This should advance it.
Yeah, advance
It
it.
happens.
Advancing.
Yeah, yeah, he was very emotional, which I
Yeah.
kept thinking in my head, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
you know, this whole activity is something that, you know, there's a
They-
lot of camaraderie among, you know, family members and
Oh, yeah.
friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
you know,
And he was like,
Right.
he's gonna make his daughter divorce me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we get
I
it.
said,
This
I don't
is-
think that's gonna happen.
This is it's a passion for these folks,
Yeah.
and I get that.
Yeah.
And you know what, I have, you know, the fact that they respect that we need to keep our regulations tight to keep the program running, you know,
Yeah.
safe and sound. So they get that, and I appreciate that too, so
And,
that's
and
fine.
he has another blind, and he brought all the paperwork in for that, and he had
He-
thought in
it
his head
happens.
that he brought it in for both.
It happens.
All right.
That's fine. Next one.
Okay, the next one is John Venturella, permit 3239. This is a late renewal with a letter of explanation. This is for you, Mr. Pell.
Yes. Is this his first time?
Yeah,
think so.
my name is, yes, first time. He has two blinds. He says, "My name is John Venturella, and I'm writing to you because I have misplaced my blind renewal paperwork. And honestly, I forgot. I had filled out my renewal, but put aside the rest because I had to go get the notary. My apologies, I've never missed this part of the waterfowl renewal before. honestly, I'm a little embarrassed, as I have had these blinds for 30-plus years.
Yeah, I'm
Again,
fine
my
with it.
apologies, and I hope you will approve me so I can continue this for myself and my family.
I'm
Thank
fine.
you for your attention, John Venderella. So he has permit 239,
They had
and
that for a
you're,
long time.
you're okay? And
yeah.
no, he's never been late
No, he's
before.
not- he's
either.
never been late.
Did
This
Rich
was
review
also
this?
one that
Yeah,
didn't.
I'm fine with it.
I did send to the Bay Constables, I haven't received anything
Yeah,
back.
but you said it for 30 years,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
should be.
and
I'm
then
good with
he
it.
also has, permit 268, which is Mr. Parrish.
We haven't received the Bay Constable recommendation
No,
yet.
no, yeah,
Do you guys
and the
want
rest
to
of,
advance pending that?
Well,
Or do you want to hold it?
I mean, the location's the same.
Yeah, the
no
location's
issues.
the same.
Do you have all the paperwork? I mean,
yep, they
if
put
you
it
have
out.
all the paperwork and there's no issues or complaints, nothing
the-
has changed, and every I has been dotted and every T is crossed,
And it's his first time.
I think it's okay.
It's not like he's been
And
doing
and the
it
blind has
for a
been
long
hunted
time.
for 30 years
Yeah.
without a problem. I think we should move it
It's
ahead.
absolutely, move it ahead. I mean,
Okay,
Yeah.
So that's for 239 and
and
260.
268,
with the constables, my concerns are safety concerns.
Right.
Public safety concerns.
Right.
New blinds
All
and,
that.
But if their paperwork is in order.
yep, he has
and-
everything
and
all
nothing
there.
has changed and the location is the same.
It's
Next
all-
one is number 111.
And that's Michael Wright, which you spoke to,
He's right here. You would like him to come up?
there he is.
'Cause he's gonna
Only
go order.
because
Yeah, I
Mr.
can-
Wright
I can
has a
explain this really
concern.
quickly.
yeah.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on,
Can't
have a
speak
seat.
from there,
have
you
to
can
come
sit
to the
here.
Yeah,
microphone
here or
here.
here.
Yeah, you gotta sit up
Yeah,
here,
either way.
you gotta sign in for the record.
So, yeah, sorry, Michael Wright, Southampton. So, yeah, this is one of those ones where I came to the trustee's office to renew it and didn't have the paperwork that they had sent. And so when the ladies printed it out, they only printed out the one, which is, this is like, we have one blind and two spots. You know, I've renewed this every year. Fran, who hunts next to us, has two spots on the same permit, like under the same number, because what it is it's a very narrow creek, and we always just moved our blinds when the winds would change. That spot is not really a hunting spot anymore. The landowner behind it cut down all the phragmites and reeds and stuff. So, I mean, I've been moving it once every year just for the sake of maintaining the spot. But, I mean, if you want to just make that spot go away. The only thing is that it can't go back into the lottery because it's two blinds that are like a couple 100 feet across a creek. We'd be shooting at each other's faces if they were too
It's up,
bad.
Yeah.
it's up to you. If you want to keep it.
Yeah, I'm happy. Ideally, I'd like to put them both onto the same paperwork, so it's not these two things. I mean, I've done it every
We do
year. It's not a big
separate.
deal.
Yeah,
We would
you have to
just
do it
take this
separate.
spot away, right?
This year, I just didn't have the stack. I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll change in the
His-
future.
Right, and I think we talked, right, Michael, and you said, his concern is that he doesn't want this to go back into the
Yeah, but
lottery
that's
because he
all right.
doesn't think it's safe
Okay.
for someone else to
Well, then
be.
that's,
Yeah, it's. I mean,
And
maybe
Yeah, then
he,
we would-
Or he
then
can
we
just
would-
renew it.
maybe it's 500 feet apart,
No,
but
they
they're
would-
like facing each other. So
we have to
No.
deal with that.
yeah,
We have to deal with that,
So we want to avoid the spot, maybe?
so do you
Want to
wanna,
avoid it?
I
or you
think
wanna
that's
keep
what
it?
we're
I
looking
mean,
to
that's
have it
No,
rated.
that's fine if you could do like Fran does, where it just makes note that. I mean, listen,
Yeah,
we're never
it'd
going to
just
move
be
it again.
him.
But
Well,
On the other
once
spot.
once we are aware of a public safety
Safety.
issue, we have to deal with it. So
Right.
now we'll adjust this so
yeah,
that,
if you just delete that spot, that's fine.
Okay, then we'll.
let's get let's do that by resolution, that way
Because
there's
there's
no
another
question.
blind to the south of that. That's
So,
somebody
okay.
else.
And you want to get a thing from the Bay Constables
Yeah.
still on it.
That's good information,
Well,
but what I think should be a priority is setting forth a resolution to memorialize this and then indicate that in the system so that we don't end up
Accidentally giving it to someone
correct,
else.
because he brought
Okay.
some really good local information.
Right, and Rich has been down there. He knows the situation. We always just register because it goes back to Freddie Havemeyer, and
Yeah.
the landowner had registered that spot, which is how it became a spot because he had the right to.
Yeah.
But then he never put a blind there for 3 years, and so
He
we
kinda-
just registered it so that it didn't get lost that way. But so as long as that's just recognized as not a place that another blind can go.
Okay.
'Cause our
Yeah,
blind
let's-
has been
So
at
hold
the
it
other
until we
spot
get,
for 4
Yeah,
years.
hold
Deny.
it, then talk to Rich, have Rich write a letter, say it's unsafe.
Well,
And,
we've
that
got
area.
terrific public testimony here. I think we're
Yeah.
gonna have to get
Yeah.
started on a resolution.
okay,
Okay.
all right,
You got, yeah.
all right.
Cool.
And you
All
have to
right,
put-
thanks.
Thank you for
thanks
coming and
Michael.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Hey, Lisa,
Yes,
in the resolution, you have to put the GPS area.
Yeah.
So we know exactly where it is.
yep. All right. Okay, so next is Michael J. DePerte.
So all these ones that are expired, non-renewal, we created a list for all of you guys, if you wanna reach out to them and hold all these. That's what we've done in
They're
the
all,
past.
these are,
So we have all of their numbers split up by your area. We can just probably go ahead and hold all those,
Okay.
if
yeah.
that's what you'd like to do. That's how we've handled it in the past.
That's probably what
anyone
you
that
should.
has expired non-renewal, I don't have a letter or anything.
If your name is next to them, just give them a call.
You're,
Here?
you're
We'll
going
hold them
to,
until the next work session.
you're gonna give us that?
We're passing
Coming
it down
down.
right now.
Coming down.
Oh, perfect, okay, cool,
And then you just gotta call
It's
them
in the
before the next
pipeline.
work session, so we know how to move forward.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
I have trustee Waffles.
What?
Actually, I need to know before the
No,
agenda is published, so,
These are all the
next
same.
Wednesday, please.
Yeah, you just,
I just did that.
And then Ed, Jeremy Allen, permit 99.
Okay.
He's off the wait list. He has accepted this area. He has all his hunting license, his duck stamp and everything that Rich said all looks good on his end, approved pending trustee board of final approval.
Okay.
James, where is that? Draw back just a little bit further, please.
Shinnecock
Oh,
Hills.
okay,
Atterbury Road.
okay.
I'm good with that.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna advance?
Yep.
Alrighty. And then the next one is gonna be held. And then Ann Randolph Rice, permit number 145, late renewal with, a letter, hold on one second. Okay. So, just so you know, Keith McCallum, who is also permittee on this blind, did have his application in on time. Mr. Randolph came in, I'm late renewing my duck blind permit due to a delay in bringing family members to Florida and had to stay an extra week due to illness in the family. Please let me renew my duck blind past due date this year, and I do have, this is to you, Ed, you do have my vote.
well, that was apparent.
I don't know, maybe we can
I
retract
don't know.
that.
Oh, boy.
Do we have, did he submit all of his paperwork?
Yeah, he has all
please?
his paperwork.
Okay,
Yep, he
so-
has all his paperwork, and
He's
this was
now
one of the
current.
ones that did go to the Bay Council, but because
Okay.
Richie's on vacation.
Okay, so,
They've never been late before,
right, and there's an explanation, so I think we should advance this.
okay. Let's see. And then there's Robert Renner. He also, put in a letter. Uh-oh. And I apologize. What? I did send it to the Bay Constables and they were fine with it.
There's a letter of explanation, though?
Yeah, there was. I made him write it while he was standing there.
Okay,
It must have, maybe it's in one or the other.
okay.
Sorry about that. Might be mixed up in here.
You know what, maybe we could go on, and then if you find it, but does he have all his paperwork?
He has all
in?
his paperwork. He's never
Is
been
it-
late before.
Okay,
And he has a letter of explanation.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, he
satisfactory.
does.
So I mean, I
Just
think it's
FYI.
sensible to think it's okay.
yeah,
It
Then-
should advance.
then we can move
You
forward.
should definitely move forward.
Yeah,
Yes.
I watched him write it. I
Yeah.
just don't know what he
It-
did
just-
with it.
It's okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's on the record that they did, and there's no changes, and
And then this is Eric Hagan. The next one, this is the gentleman who wanted blind in Mulvihill Pond. Richie said that the other two areas were resting spots, and then you had asked, didn't you, you were gonna reach out, whether it was a duck blind or a duck boat.
Yeah.
And he got back to me, it's a duck boat.
So the question was access was the question. Was-
No, it wasn't, well, it was
He has
boat
access.
access. It's
Yeah.
the launching, because there's
Right,
no
getting that
actual
actual
launch.
boat to the water.
But with a boat? Is
Well, you'd
that,
have to put it in, I think that
Okay.
was
So
your
the thing was,
question.
could you physically get,
He must have access for a boat. I mean, if it's
Well-
If he's- yeah,
if
he
it's
said duck
aluminum boat,
boat.
all you need is a 4-foot wide trail through the woods to drag it.
Yeah, and there is a
Carry it.
trail.
Could be a scooter.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Mm.
So I'm fine with it.
Scott, how do you feel?
yeah, I mean, as long as they can get what they need to get there.
Okay, then that's fine.
Okay.
And I'll call.
Because you can carry a small aluminum boat, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've
I'll
done that myself.
call-
Yeah, he said it's a single,
Yeah,
so it
That's
can't
no
be too
problem.
It's a
heavy.
scooter.
Okay, I'll call, Mr. Booth.
Mr. Hagan.
Hagan.
No, the next.
Oh, the next one, yeah,
Sorry,
so
sorry,
we're
sorry.
holding.
Yeah.
The expired,
Okay.
yeah. Are there
And
two-
again,
are there-
also, there is two on this,
Okay.
on Booths, and the other one is Finn Kelly, and he had his in on time,
Okay, so it's just Booth.
yeah.
Okay, Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the 3, 4, Bill, Mr. Parrish are all, there's only
They have
one
to
that
be
has a
called.
letter, and that was John Venturella, so we already, the other two are just, they did not send a letter or renew.
Correct.
So it's just a hold.
The couple that I have here, Finn, Maids, and Dunn. So there's no correspondence from any of
Yeah,
them?
none of them either.
And the Bay Constables have not?
Finn, I think, actually, which one is that?
Scott Finn?
Yeah, I believe
83?
he put his paperwork in. Let me just see. Yeah, Finn Kelly put his in. Scott Finn and Charles Maid. Yeah, Scott did put his in, his paperwork in.
Okay,
But Charles did not. Yeah, and he was on time and he has everything.
so we're holding it, waiting for Mr. Maids' paperwork to come in? And then Craig Dunn.
He's the only one, I think, on that one,
Oh, yep,
and he did not,
Okay.
nothing, I got nothing.
so I have numbers here, I'll give them all a call. All right,
All ready?
thank you,
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank you, Lisa.
guys.
Doing a good
Thanks,
job
Liz.
there.
good job.
That is where.
It's going smoothly, Scott, leave it alone.
General permit applications for determination. I've got Cole Environmental, take care now.
Thanks, Mike, for
Bye,
coming.
Mike.
Bye,
Cole
Mike.
Environmental Services for 23A West Tiana Road. Morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see you. Okay, resulting in the proposed pedestrian water access path.
Pretty much the conservation board is good with the project as long as there's minimal natural vegetation removed. Everything else is good, like penetrating decking, so they recommend.
Yes, we just wanted to take that one extra step out of respect for the adjoining jurisdiction.
Okay.
And get their comments on there to see if we can, incorporate, that as well. So we took that extra step for, for the interest of the environment and for the applicant.
Great.
So I think that, right, and you're going with, I don't know if you want to read into the record what your project is.
Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, so we're, thank you.
This is an as-built, right?
Yeah, there's
done
a,
it.
there's a current existing dock, and we're just basically bringing the dock into compliance with Blue Book and
Correct.
DEC.
Correct. And now you've met that,
Great,
okay? And we, like I said, we've even taken the extra step to,
wonderful. Is the next step just getting stamp plans and submitting to you guys?
yes.
Yes.
Great.
Yes, exactly, okay?
All right, perfect. Great, thank you.
You're good.
Thanks, have a good one.
Trustee Pell?
I have reason to smile. 183 Shore Road. Jeff? You have anything on that, James?
183 Shore Road, North Sea. Is that you folks? Nope.
Nope.
You have no reason to smile? No? You want to do trustee Pally, you wanna review it? Is it complex?
No, we had it moved. You got a letter in, you said, from, right?
We got revised an application, I believe, and a revised plan. I think he should be here though for,
All right, then you think he should be here, then we just hold it then.
You want to hold it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one is a Zoom.
maybe he'll come in late or something.
All right, so for now, we'll put it on.
Charles, can you let Mr. Baldwin in on Zoom?
Please.
Thank you.
That is not Mr. Baldwin.
No, that's Joe.
Hey, Joe.
That is. Can't hear you. Can you unmute him, please, Charles?
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we, do you want me to update you on the
Yeah,
recent letter?
let's just,
Let's just say the address. The address is 45 Cedar Crest Road, Southampton.
let's just briefly describe the project so the public can understand what we're talking about here.
We're replacing an existing bridge and dock, and, the bridge is 206 feet long. The dock is 80 feet long, and it crosses Davis Creek, on 45 Cedar Crest's property, on the south side and the north side.
Okay. And then you have some updates for the board?
Yes, I recently received a letter on last week, November 13th, from the New York State consistency regarding the U.S. Army Corps of Engineering. And they reviewed my project. They had a number of questions, went back and forth with.
And then he froze.
Them, and at the end, they said, therefore, on further proposal activity by the Department of State, Department of Concurrence, individual consistency certification for proposal activity are not required. The forms of, so, I mean, I'm not.
Sir, I
As far as
apologize.
I understand, they approved it.
Okay, that's the short version because you did freeze on our end here, so we missed most of that.
Okay,
So give us the short-
basically, I got a letter from the Department of State regarding the U.S. Army Corps of Engineering, New York District, and the letter says,
Maybe turn off your video, and then we'll be able to hear you anyway, if your internet's unstable.
I'm not that, I can try.
So you got
I don't know
approval,
how to do this.
you got approval from the
Stop
other
video. Okay,
regulators?
stop video. Okay, I'm gonna stop video now. Video settings.
You have approval from the other regulatory authorities, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay, that's all right. Don't worry about messing with your thing there.
And Mr. Baldwin, how are you? Mark McRedmond, counsel to the trustees. I know you have my email. Would you mind sending me a copy of that letter so I could read it?
oh, sure.
Thank you.
That would be helpful.
Do we have
Mark, I
it
think Mark, I sent you that last week.
You sent it to me? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
you
check it.
have that
Okay.
last week.
okay. Also, while I'm speaking with you, I spoke with I emailed the opposing counsel's attorney, and we've gone back and forth. I know you and I have had a few conversations about this. All they're requesting now is the latest version of whatever you're submitting. They claim to have gotten a couple of different versions, so they just want to know, before they give you that letter of support, what the actual latest submitted plans are. So if you could send that to them, I think you'll probably be on your way.
I will also,
I think that the neighbors has right to go over it.
I already did send it to him, I'll send it to him again.
Well,
No.
they say you've sent it to them a couple of times, but they're different, so they want you to send just the very latest version. I know there's been some changes along the way.
So there's pending litigation? There's pending litigation on
There-
this?
It's my understanding there's no pending litigation, Mr. Baldwin, but there is an easement holder, correct?
Yeah, the people, I think the lot.
That is correct, they have there's a, what Mark is,
If you turn off this video.
referring to is a right-of-way, holder, and the lot
If you
out.
can figure that out.
And, I will again send the updated plans and then we'll do the next step after that. If you get the letter from them, Mark, is that, once that's resolved, if there's no other open issues, can we move forward?
That'll be up to the board.
Yeah, we'll have to review all these documents and get the updated plan. Are you planning any time to be back here in New York? Or are you gonna stay there for?
I will be, the timing might be, rough. We'll be over Christmas holidays. We'll be up there, but I think I'm gonna miss your next meeting. I think is it December 18th?
Yeah, this,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a little challenging going back and forth here, but we're gonna have to review all these documents. And then I think we could, we'll give you an email or a call and see what the next date is that it will be on, for the board to take an official action. So we
Okay.
wanna move it along, just like you wanna move it along, but we need to dot the i's and cross the t's on this. So the sooner we can get to review all the documents, then we can get moving on that.
Ed, did you have a question?
You also have to check on the right of way.
Yeah.
If it's a foot right of way or exactly what it says.
Well, where the right-of-way
He's already
goes,
looked at, you already looked at it, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall if it was, I think it was just the right to pass through the
Pass, yeah.
property. And
but
also, I
over the
believe,
bridge into the
I-
other side of, to Mechanic Bay is?
I think it's the whole length, and I believe there's also, from what I read in my conversations with Mr. Baldwin, there's also an arrangement where there's a partial, I believe, 30% obligation for the right-of-way holder to contribute to the maintenance of that walkway and dock pursuant to agreement. We froze.
We just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
that is
the-
correct.
The right of way don't want to put his own.
That is correct, there's a 1/3 obligation by the
Okay.
right-of-way holder, here's a 10-foot right-of-way that runs along the east side of my property, down to the bridge, across the bridge, and also the property on the beach side, to the bend.
So if the bridge has to be away from the 10 feet boundary line anyway,
Yeah,
so it'd be after the right of way.
but if it's out of the
I
right-of-way,
didn't
would the
quite understand that.
other person still be allowed to use it because it's
You
not
have
in
to-
the right-of-way?
You have to put a cover, but we can't put it right within 10 feet. of
I think
boundary
the attorneys have to speak about this, and we need to review the documents, because
Yeah,
it sounds a little more
That's
complicated
what-
than at first glance.
Well, that's what I was saying, is we really need to take a look at the plan, take a look at these
line.
documents,
Because
the
that's
board's
what we
gotta,
were talking about before.
Yes.
right.
and then we'll advise him what the next step is.
And if you have any updates, Mr. Baldwin, since the last time you and I spoke, send them to James in my office. He'll forward them to me, and I'll look over everything again. So I know there's been a few
And you have to
changes along the way.
figure out the exact height.
I'll put.
Oh, the bridge?
Yeah.
Everything's been sent to you already.
And the width between
Phase,
the
you
span,
have all
the
the
piling
information, but
space,
I'll
it's
put
too
it all
narrow, you
together.
can't get a boat
Okay,
through
So
I'll
you
it.
see the surveys, you see the
It
current
should
plan.
be 10 feet.
No, I have been up there in a while on my boat.
It's closed.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All right,
we're
so let's-
holding?
Yeah, definitely holding. Yes, definitely holding. let's look at all the paperwork, let's look at the plan, let's make sure we have everything, and then we're all on the same page before we go to the next step, and then we will advise at the earliest time that we could go to the next step. Fair?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's a hold.
Yep, we have,
Sandringham.
CC Weiner and Cold Mountain LLC there. I believe they're both First Coastal. Now, are they adjoining properties or are they?
No.
I don't think so.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Billy Mack, First Coastal.
Good morning.
How is everybody? Congrats to all you guys.
There's a history here, you might want to go
Yeah,
back.
so it's the two properties, the property in the middle just got sold. So that person's likely coming aboard. But, so the history on these is, I don't know, probably about 10 years ago, we did a biolog project there.
Longer than that.
Longer than that,
Yeah,
sorry.
yes.
And then several just restorations with
Yep.
sand. They've subsequently been eroded, and now it's exposed again. I think it was that Christmas storm last year that did the big
The
damage.
biolog, I believe there was 2 biolog projects done on one of the houses, and they last for 4 to 5 years, and then the biologs literally disintegrate, and then the storm washes them away, and then we start all over again.
Yeah, unless they get hit. If they get hit by a big storm, then they just, there's
Float.
no
There's-
evidence
There's
right
a lot
after the
of,
storm.
Yeah.
a lot of energy in this area.
Yeah, it
So I
is,
don't-
as you guys know it.
I don't see biologs working out.
Yeah, so, and what we did, again, a couple doors down, was, work with you to, Ed, to get a covenant on the property to continue sand on the structure, as long as the beach is monitored and does not reduce, the
Public
width by a
access.
certain,
Yep,
I think it was like, 20%.
yep, I believe that was the numbers we had worked with initially.
And we're monitoring the other project we did, and that has, the beach fortunately has remained the same, but who knows what's gonna happen in the future, and that this protects the trustees on the road that you guys own.
Yep,
But then it also keeps the property from the upland crumbling down. So, we're looking to do that similar project that was approved previously, for these two properties, and then likely dovetail the middle property in.
yeah, I mean, it's a shame that all the properties along there wouldn't come in with an application, so we could look at maybe a more modern version of a living shoreline kind of application, where they're segregated like that. That's not, it's probably, that won't work,
Yeah.
because it'll get outflanked, and the property in the middle is,
I mean, the
unfortunately.
best thing we could do is just build in returns until the person
Yeah.
in the middle here,
Yeah.
you know.
It is a highly erosive area. I mean, after Sandy, a lot of the material got pulled off the banks and, dumped on the beach. So, I've been down there personally and witnessed what has happened.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be done, but, I like everybody on the board to have a little bit of comment on
Sure.
it, because it's on the Shinnecock Beach Road, it's our 50-foot right-of-way easement there, so, working with the attorneys over the time I've been on the board, I think it's about 16 years, I've had 4 different attorneys craft different versions of agreements. Now, Mark, you're familiar with this, because you've done a couple of these,
That's right.
latest ones, which is a little bit different than what we have in the past, so, you wanna start, working on, drafting something for both of these properties, so we can review it in the process of doing the review of the application?
Sure, we're also working on, I'm hoping the meeting after December 4th, I'll have the draft for you on new covenant and restrictions procedures.
Okay.
That will be submitted by applicants from now on.
It's key.
I'll
in an
explain
area
more in
like this. It's
detail.
absolutely key, because the activity that you're talking about is obviously bad for the property owner, but good for the maintenance of Shinnecock Beach Road, because
Yes.
that's how it replenishes itself, so you're
Right.
disrupting the natural process, so you need to
That's why the
compensate,
covenant is important.
mitigate for that, so that agreement is very important to the public, the trustees, and, you know,
Yeah, the applicants are well aware that
Yeah.
this covenant is coming, so they're happy to review
Well,
it when you get a
if you
chance.
pull out, James, can you pull out and show us Far Pond? If you want to know where all the material is ending up, it's going into Far Pond. I mean, we got
That's
over,
Middle Pond. Go,
Yeah,
no,
go.
that's Far Pond. That's
Okay,
Far
so-
Pond. You see on the
Yep,
west
yep.
side, all that material, that thumb that goes in
Yeah,
there?
that's
All that
sand.
material came from,
Be
you know,
nice to get a-
west.
Dredge and place that sand up.
Well, that's,
What's the height difference between those properties?
Those
The one-
bluffs are all about anywhere from 15 to 18 feet,
Yeah, the one in the middle's is all the same.
all the same. Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
so yeah, I mean, our issue is with Far Pond is to have it dredged in a way it reduces the erosion on the east side and still keep somewhat of a environmental or a navigable channel to access the pond. We're in the process of working with InterScience to get a permit for us to do an excavator, just to move the material that's right closest to the west side, to pull that out and do beach nourishment, whether it's
Truck it down
west
that or-
further, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
kind of like what we do at Mecox, we put it
Yeah.
in
right.
on the beach, and then you guys put it
Well,
in bluff restoration or dune restoration, and then 2 storms
That's-
later, we get it back, and it's kind of like,
You got an all hands on deck situation going on.
but
You
I
got the
want,
state, you got the county,
Yeah.
everyone's trying to figure out
Best
the
solution.
best solution, everybody,
Yeah.
So you
you
can
know.
see, you can see where it goes in there, comes
Yes.
in there.
yeah, but I like to, like we discussed with all the residents around Far Pond and Middle Pond in that area, we need to come up with a longer-term plan, and this is part of the plan.
Mhm. Okay, well, these guys are looking to at least do this interim protection
Yep.
until some longer-term plan is.
So do you want to present the proposal that you have for us today as far as the rock revetments
Yeah.
and stuff, so we can have that to think about also?
Yeah, totally, and when you guys wanna meet, review, happy to do that.
Okay.
Obviously, the covenant's a big feature,
Mm.
so, once we can get that in front of the applicants, they can have their
Yep.
comments, and, you guys can have the comments on the
And both one of the
applications.
projects are the same, so why don't we do one of them right now?
Yeah,
and
sure.
for the board to understand
Mull over.
what's being presented.
Yeah, it's a stacked rock revetment, which one you doing?
20.
20, okay. Right. Yeah, this is almost identical. We have a DEC permit for this activity, by the way. And we would just have to update it, but that, this also includes a dock. But the key part is the protection, and that would be a stacked rock revetment that would be built on filter fabric and a core bedding, or riprap bedding. And it would be covered with sand, planted with beach grass, and that would be continued to be monitored.
What's the size of the rocks?
There, I believe, I don't know, can you zoom in on that? Might be cross-section.
I think you could both take the dock off.
Think so?
Yeah, I think you could both separate, because the dock, look, you have no water where that dock is,
I know.
so you're
1
gonna,
to 3.
so you're gonna go back and forth to your client.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a waste
Well-
of the dock there.
I know. I mean, I figured I'm before you guys on this. might
Is there
as
any
well.
docks out
There,
there?
there is eelgrass like 50 feet off the beach, and that's why the dock to the west, the 3 properties are, it's only 40
Yeah.
feet long.
It's just access for, small whaler or something like that.
Yeah, but you have no water at the 100 feet, you only have, it's only 4
1.2.
inches difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
No,
No, that's why we pulled the one back, which was the green lawn
That's-
property, to where it was
so you
originally.
might as well, either pull it back before, or get rid of it.
Right.
It doesn't
Well,
make sense.
You're gonna waste a couple of meetings going back and forth.
Right, no, well, I'd love to, wrap them all together, because.
There's no water,
There's absolutely no water
there's no
there.
water there at all.
At low tide at 100 feet, it's like, in the
Even the
wintertime,
little whaler's gonna
it's
be,
dry.
Yeah.
I,
Well, 1.2, they can handle that. I don't know about the,
No, but
certainly
there's.
0.7.
Yeah, but that's, there's all eelgrass right there.
Yeah, it's a waste.
That's the problem, is we've had applicants before discuss docks in this area, and we've always been very, basically saying no because of the eelgrass that's there. I mean, and no matter what you put there, you're gonna be right
I
in the
will,
eelgrass.
I'll do an inventory on the eelgrass.
Okay.
Yeah, to confirm that.
But as far as the structure on the beach with the stones, it's not gonna be completely vertical, it's gonna be like almost
Exactly.
on a 45-degree angle,
Yeah.
so that for a wave of,
Reduce
attenuation.
that
Yeah.
energy, yeah.
Yep.
Space that.
And the rocks that you're proposing to use now, they're not gonna, we've had certain projects where they've used, almost like bluestone that were very sharp and, not like local, rocks. The last project that was done there, they're more of a natural Long Island rock, so that's what we're looking at.
And that's what we
They're
install.
round.
Yeah, those are round, and
So
actually you guys
people-
required that.
if-
Yeah.
If it's uncovered, people climb on it, they don't get hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These are native,
I think
natural
when the water
stones.
hits it, it just makes it a lot easier.
Spreads it all over the place,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
The shotgun just cut it.
Yeah, they're a little harder to find, those stones, because they're native, they're local, they, come out of, when people dig up foundations and stuff like that, so. But that's exactly the stone that we use, is native stone.
And then covered
Brother
with
has a whole
sand.
bunch.
Covered with sand, planted with beach grass, and at a nicer pitch. There's a wall that's 2 or 3 doors down from this, it's almost vertical. So we're trying
Yeah.
to
Who did that one?
alleviate that,
You know?
Don't know.
That's Fabrica's property,
Yeah.
Yolanda Fabrica.
Yeah, that was done a long time
That's
ago.
That was the first one that we entertained because there was a bulkhead there,
That's right.
and then they reconfigured the rocks, the shape of the bulkhead,
Yeah.
and made a promenade there.
Uh-huh.
And the rocks that they were used were flat and pointy and
Mhm.
stacked straight up.
Straight
And
up.
Yeah.
Billy and
So-
I and Eric walked down here like, this isn't what we envisioned.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
quite ugly.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why
That's why, yeah.
that slope is really
Much
important if you
It was
talk
like
about
10
wave
years ago.
attenuation
More than that, like when you were first on the board, yeah.
It,
in any of this stuff.
Yeah, just spaces
It's
that
design,
wave energy.
it has to be done right, otherwise you
Yeah.
it is
exacerbating.
is beach grass sufficient for the vegetation? Or
Beach grass
should
is
there be-
ideal because of the root mass. However, if it gets hit by wave energy directly, the sand will erode and erode the beach grass. So I don't know of a better vegetation other than beach grass. To answer your
Groundsel or
question.
bayberry or anything like that?
They don't have the dense root system that holds the sand, that is the best. So we do incorporate that a lot, but the beach grass is the part that holds the sand the best.
Yeah, the higher the bushes and shrubs are, when they lose their rooting, they literally
They come
pull
down,
everything
leave
down.
craters.
Even when we did the biologs, there's still remnants of beach grass, the plantings that
still
was still,
surviving. Yeah.
are still there after the biologs were washed out and some of the cliff was washed out, so it did work pretty well.
For vegetation, I think beach grass is, the best answer there.
So we
Okay.
still have a bit of work to do.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll put this
but-
on hold
Quite a bit.
and work.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of work
No,
to do.
But happy to push it along.
No, okay.
All right. And
Thanks, Bill.
talk more about it. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
You don't have anything else, right, Billy? It's just one that's a stamp plan.
Yeah, that's-
Thank you.
Carmen Point Drive LLC, 35 Carmen Point Drive. Is there anybody here representing? I don't see anybody. James, we went back and forth with the applicant on this, asking for changes in the plans and updates and everything. Do we have everything we need to move this forward, or are we still holding on to it?
I know we have stamp plans,
Okay.
which are up right now.
And it's far enough off the extended property line. We did pull the dock back to 2.5 feet of water.
Meet Blue Book now?
It appears so.
What do you want to,
We've asked the applicant a couple times to resubmit plans and resubmit the cover sheet, so I think it's close, or is it approvable now, or?
I mean, if you're not sure.
No, I mean, I'm just, because that's the latest paperwork that was
'Cause
submitted.
that's not, that's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
All right.
But I can read it, hang on.
Good luck.
4 foot
Just
wide,
wanna make sure it's it's the most recent. Okay.
okay, 4 foot wide to the extent, okay, 4 by 100, that meets the pier line,
Yep.
right?
I mean, when I looked at this,
So it meets all the blue book.
I believe the last cover sheet was what we needed. So,
Doesn't look like they have the floating dock on here, though.
well,
Hang on a second.
They don't have a floating dock on there.
all right,
Those are 4 feet wide, we send up to 100 feet,
So they still need the floating dock, Scott,
Yeah,
anyway. Maybe
they-
we could
6
ask them to
foot.
type it.
you know, aluminum to dock,
yeah,
4 foot and 8 foot long piece of, what does that say?
Piece of plastic.
Composite wood or plastic or aluminum. So is that the dimensions of?
No, they have on their plans of 6 foot by 20 floating dock.
all right, well, let's hold it and have them rewrite the,
And have
cover
them
sheet.
put the, if they rewrite the cover sheet and include the 6 by 20 float, then I think it's fine. Right?
But it should be typed out, not,
Right, exactly, and they gotta add that float.
yes.
So that's what he's gotta do, so it could advance if they do that, because then it meets blue.
Well, I'd rather get everything and then approve it. Yeah,
Because that's all.
yeah, no, I wanna make sure we got everything, because we advance these in pieces, parts, and then it creates
confusing.
more work.
So he's gotta type it and just add the floating dock, and
Yep.
it's provable,
All right,
right?
So, sorry, you're holding it, or you're advancing it
You
pending
can, you
those?
can
No,
hold
we're
it to
gonna-
the next one.
we're gonna
and
hold
tell
it to the
them
next- yeah.
Add the float, that way the floating dock is approved with the application, and there's no question there.
this has been back and forth for about 8 months, so it's holding it for another meeting is not
It's
gonna.
okay.
And it's the winter time. so-
Exactly, it's not gonna get done now anyway.
Yep.
So that way, it gets a nice permit approved the right way
Yep.
with the float on there. Probably an oversight that it's not on there. Okay.
All right, so we're going to the next one. The Kristen G. Wilding Irrevocable Trucks, 6 Mill Pond Road, Cole Environmental Services.
Hi,
How you doing today?
Morning. So I know, Ed, that you and I discussed, because he's just looking to replace his bulkhead in place and raise it, the proposed foot, and you and I discussed that you'd be more comfortable with 6-inch raise.
The height of the bulkhead that's to the north,
Mm-hmm,
and looking at the property, and that would be the right height to balance it out there. Because if it goes much higher, then it's gonna be catching floodwater. That's my biggest fear down there, because the property's pitched a little bit, and it's not pitched enough to get rid of it.
yeah, the property owner's concerns are that, so 8 and 10 are about the same elevation, as 6, but 11 is about 10 to 12 inches higher, and 8 and 10 both need to be, replaced. And 8 would be going in for an application, but they're, currently selling, so.
Yeah, that's the lowest one of the 3 along there. That's a pretty low bulkhead.
So he's concerned that they're also going to raise to, or propose to at least match or come close to 11, and then he's going to be
Well, the
odd
north.
man out.
Yeah, the northerly one would be, the one with the 6 we're looking at,
Mhm.
and the one to the north of it is, consistent, because the bulkhead is high, the dock is high, decking, and also the land behind it's the same. So when he raises this up, it'll be consistent with that one, and he's gonna do some dredging to put some fill in it to raise that up. The
Yeah.
next one we'll look at, when it comes in, doing that a little bit higher. I mean, you're never gonna stop a full-on flood there. That's not realistic.
Yeah, I think the flooding is more from, groundwater than anything.
Plus, when the wind drives the water up, it's no place for the water to go.
Well, it'll come right down, literally, right down the
Yeah.
street, Billy, when you.
Yeah,
when
I
you-
think during Sandy, that's what,
Yeah, So,
the
I
main
mean,
issue was.
All bets are off in a storm like that.
Yeah.
well, you don't want to build your property in a way that's going to hold all the flood water. You
Mhm.
want to be able to have the shed the water off, but shed it in a way that's not going to pull all the bad stuff off the property too quickly either. So it's kind of like a balancing act here.
Absolutely. So right now we have it proposed, from the lowest point of the bulkhead, because it varies. Would you be comfortable with, us going from the highest point?
That would be practical, because
Yeah.
then it would be consistent all the way along
Right.
the two properties. And
Okay.
then as the next one comes in and the next one comes in, we're gonna entertain them moving south on that canal.
Okay. Cause yeah, the client is pushing, he would like to have as much as he can get.
Yeah, I mean, the property looks nice, it's got Montauk daisies and nice, everything there, nice indigenous, vegetation, so it's a good project right now, but just elevating it a little bit is not gonna make that much difference on the property, but it will give them a little bit more protection.
Okay. All right, so we'll get you stamped plans and,
Yep.
and
And-
we'll just have it, so it'll just be from the 3.5 instead of
And you said they wanna get rid of the vegetation and
You
just
should
put.
just do gravel.
Do gravel, a
Yeah.
10-foot gravel area?
Anything that's native can remain, but anything that's not native will be removed.
Okay.
But ideally, he just wants gravel.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's lawn behind it in every direction, so the gravel will at least allow some permeability before it ends up in the bay.
Yeah.
Filtration.
Yep, somewhat. Alright.
So updated cover sheet and plans for the lowering the bulkhead height from 4.2 you proposed to 3.
Yeah, so we'll do it from, 6 inches from the 3.5.
Okay.
And you're removing both bulkheads, right? There's a bulkhead and there's a bulkhead out, I mean, it's an in-kind and in-place removal, right?
Yeah.
Making sure you're not stepping out further.
Nope.
No?
No.
Okay, it's all the creosote and the CC are getting taken out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're just going, right in place
Okay,
with the two returns.
good.
All right, great, thank you.
Thanks,
Yep.
Kate. 1151 Flying Point Road, Watermill Dynamic Legal Services. Kevin Springer. I'm just gonna pass this information down. So this is a property that sand was replenished on following the long dredge of Mecox last winter. And the applicant installed a walkway, and they're now looking to legalize that. So there are several things that need to be addressed here. Number one would be plans. But I just wanted to start the conversation so that you all are familiar with this property as we work forward.
The old walkway have a permit?
James, do we know that? Did the old walkway have a permit?
I'm not sure, but it was removed.
Because if the old one has a permit, we might,
It's not the same, if you look at the plan up there,
It's
they had a wood deck and everything, that was all
Yeah.
removed, so it's gonna be more streamlined. It's more streamlined from that one.
We want to make sure that it's, a note in file that it's been removed. So
Wait, say that again, we wanna make sure what?
that there's a note in the file that has been removed. That way, 10 years the house is sold, they don't want to come back and say, this was a permit, let's do it again.
Okay,
Just want to have a clear record of what has occurred here,
Yep.
is what he's saying.
okay. Yeah, no, there's several things that
And
need
and
to
the
be addressed on
footprint
this.
of
Wanna look at
the
the
outer
picture?
terminus of the project is not gonna
Says
deal with
plan.
any beach
Sure.
dwelling, correct?
So we don't have plans here?
The plan is the sketch on the survey.
That's.
We had
that-
requested updated plans, as-built plans, and Kevin
working
was
on
gonna work on getting them. I thought he was gonna be
So-
here today. He maybe show up late, but
There's nothing actionable here.
No, and we're aware of that, but again, as I said.
And the
I just
elevation, you
wanted-
don't need handrails on it, so it's.
When did he,
Do we
when did he
need an
install this?
advisory letter?
I believe we asked for one, so it's pending where I will ask for one.
It's pretty new. When did he?
Let's do that.
And you also want to make sure that the there's enough space for sunlight to go in between these cracks.
Well, that's the whole thing, it's really,
Should be flow through.
well, yeah, that's light penetrating decking, and then
Yeah,
whatever
that's pretty solid.
vegetation will grow underneath it.
You know, I'll hold the thing.
When did he install this, do we know?
It had to be after, the,
Probably between, we
Dune
finished the
restoration.
work there in February. So between March and sometime over the summer.
If there's 3/8 spacing between those deck boards,
No
it's
permits.
compliant, Bill.
No
Huh?
permits.
Well, and
Maybe.
people probably saw it and should have probably said something like, you know,
Billy, if there's 3/8
No
spacing
permits?
between the deck boards, it would be in
Stop.
compliant as far
Yeah,
as
but
lumber goes.
You have to find that out.
Yeah, it looks like it's,
So
Pretty
that's
tight.
another question then for Kevin.
see here, has some spacing.
Right.
Yeah, ask him,
Okay.
make sure it's compliant to our blue book.
Okay. All right, so this is a hold pending several items. 56 Noyak Harbor Road. Brian Mims, permit guy. Okay, we've been going back and forth on this for a while. So this is existing dock to be replaced, construct 32-foot fixed pier through flow with ramp and a float. As per plans, all materials to be untreated. We had questions as to the length of the dock we needed a bathymetry study. We needed the length of the dock pursuant to the width of the creek. There were a couple other things that we had been looking for. So perhaps you'd like to address.
Could you overhead on this, Mike? I mean, James.
Concern about how far the dock was going to be off the eastern property line.
Right,
And the prior plans didn't have
okay,
that dimension. Now,
Okay.
we've added that in, so it's now 10.3. The concern was
Okay.
whether we were within 10 feet or not.
right.
do the other regulatory authorities require a greater distance?
I'm sorry.
Do the other permits that you're required to get require a greater distance of that, or no?
No.
I don't think there's much water.
There's bathymetry, I think, on the survey, right?
Yeah.
Because we requested that. We may still need additional
There's plenty of
plots,
water
though.
in
Right, no water.
Billy, there's plenty of,
Fair water.
yeah, there's plenty of water in there.
It goes out, yeah.
What
a little
about
dredge
a third, a
basically.
third, a third? Is that on there? James, we were close, right?
Well,
With that?
that's dependent upon where the channel is situated as well, so there are other factors that come into that, so.
yeah, I think when we looked at it, you have the distance north of the dock, and if you, bring it down to where the dock is actually located, I think that it doesn't make it by like 3 or 4 feet or something like that when we measured it off.
So, in other words, if you pull your line down so that it goes straight out from the dock and across,
So in
rather
the blue
than
book,
up?
the rules are that it needs to make a third of the channel width. It can't go out for any further than a third of the channel width. So you'd have to do the width of the channel where the dock is, and then you can only go as far as a third of that width.
Third of that width.
So if
And-
it's, you have to bring it in by whatever amount of feet, you have to show that, and then the depth of measure, the depth of water at that inside of the float.
So you're gonna
Okay.
have to draw that back a little bit from our calculations, and you probably will need some additional plots for bathymetry in there, because we weren't sure about the depth of water when you pull it back.
Because
Right,
the
right.
depth of water is in the inside of the float here at minus 2.5, which
Yeah.
is good, but if you bring it back,
on-
we don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's trouble.
See, on this plan here, we show the dock, and it's, you know, overhead and then a side view. If you could plot the water depths along here
On the plans.
on the
the plans.
plans, it would be really much more helpful to everybody to,
That we
where you
can do.
could specifically situate the dock, because the inshore terminus of the dock should be at 2.5, that's the starting point, and then the dock would go out from there.
Which he has, he shows on here, but
But it's on the survey Ed's point is the
Yeah,
plans,
but
right?
I have the plan, so it'd be much easier.
We can do that, that's not
Yeah.
that's not gonna be an issue. I was just concerned if we're pulling the dock back, landward, are we going to have a problem with the 10 feet, but we're not, that's what I was doing a little, I think we actually pick up a couple
I
of
think you,
inches.
I think
you
you
do.
actually
I think you do
gain.
Couple
pick
of
up.
inches,
Just-
so I think we're even better than where we
Exactly.
were.
Yes.
You pick it up because of the angle.
Yeah. All right, so I know what I have to get you.
Okay.
James, I did get you the updated cover sheet there. Did you receive it?
Let's see, I believe you did, yeah, I
Okay,
believe
good.
you did, but let me just pull it up here.
The one I have is from 11/6.
11/9.
11/9,
Yeah.
sorry, yes.
Yes,
I
you have it?
Yes.
Okay, good, so we got that.
Yep.
But it, you know, depending on what you have to do with
The one where you
the
just-
movement
It's
of the
gonna-
dock,
it's
it might
gonna
have to change.
it. I'm gonna have to
So
change it now.
yeah,
because
if
I'm
it
gonna-
does-
If the plans do change, then
Yeah,
we
they're
should
okay.
need
Yeah,
another
you've
cover
got an
sheet.
area where they
Yep.
match it.
So we can just be in
For
touch
decking, you need
about
to
that.
have a stable
Yeah,
Got it.
stable frame.
frame. And
Yeah,
a lot
these,
of times,
the
Oh, it's
plastic ones
absolutely
work
gonna
out well,
change.
you just
Yeah,
don't
it's
put them on
absolutely
over
gonna
there.
change, so-
If they hold together, they don't
Okay.
put treatment on them.
No, it's true.
Great, so we have some work to do.
Okay,
I have some
So
more.
they-
Okay,
not too bad.
thank you,
Thank you very much.
and happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. Congratulations to everybody from last week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so
We're
next,
gonna go back, you are.
so that's a hold and keep going. Lee Spiegel, 192 Redwood Road, Village of Sag Harbor, Costello Marine.
Yeah, for future reference, don't go by our times that are listed on here. We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna get rid of those, because
It was confusing Billy Mack all the time.
I know.
Hello.
You know,
So this is a living shoreline with 3 marsh sills. We've been going back and forth on this for a bit. We have recently received from the applicant, the US Army Corps permit. It's 3 marsh sills using 1.5 to 2-ton rock along the length of the shoreline, backfilling areas landward of the sills with clean trucked-in sand, approximately 215 cubic yards, creating a dune or a berm landward of the tidal wetlands, seaward of existing fence, raising the grade approximately 2 inches, 2 feet in elevation, planting Spartina alterniflora in the intertidal area, 12 inches off-center, and also planting Cape American beach grass in the upland buffer area. Did you guys want to?
I think at this point, we have secured DEC, Army Corps, and Department of State, all permits. And so we came back to you guys to get some input on this level. We put in an application to the Harbor Committee. We haven't gotten any response as of yet, even though we did do a preliminary from them. You know,
You did a presentation to the Harbor Committee already?
Yeah, basically 3 times we went
So,
to see the Harbor Committee.
They liked
Okay.
you.
It was
So-
nice. But we came to, a conclusion, this is the way to go, and they helped us with the design. I think the critical aspect that they talked about was the permeability of the wall. When we do our rock, most people keep them tight. We kept them about 2 to 3, 4 inches apart, so this wall will actually be permeable, so the water will pour in through the wall, and then also comes
And
to the inlets.
recede.
And recede, so
Yeah.
actually, you should not get that scar that you see in some of the other types of designs.
yeah, 'cause it would only, the water would be relieved on both ends, but it's gonna be relieved through the whole
The
structure.
whole structure, yeah, the whole structure's permeable, it's like a natural kind of shoreline,
Dissipate the energy.
Yes.
So where do you stand with Harbor Committee then?
We're waiting for their environmental review.
I would hold this maybe because we usually work in sync with them, and I'd like to not have to come back if they make any further changes.
Okay, so,
What do you-
we've been there, what,
what-
2 months with them right now? 3 months?
30, I think
3
3
months.
months is that we're about.
From our point of view, we're pretty much good, but we'd like to hear if they have anything further. I mean,
I mean, if we're good, then and we go, then you're coming back for some form of modification. So what's your
But
thoughts?
that holds things up for these guys. Because we've gone back and forth with Harbor Committee before.
They might,
Well,
if we,
what's your-
if
what's
we
your
issue
thoughts?
it, they might get
My
more
gut
motivated.
feeling is, since we had these 3 meetings where we came to a common goal and a common design, that we should be in pretty good shape. I think, again, the reviewer, Mr. Voorhees from Nelson and Pope, he already reviewed it technically. He's already reviewed these plans. So I would
okay.
hope that anything would be, that wouldn't be design modifications, maybe a clarification, but that's where I think we would be.
Okay,
So, as far as, any modifications at this point on, we're gonna have to go back to the other agencies anyhow.
Right, so again, you
Okay.
have all those already
They're
approved.
all ready to
So,
go.
so my,
Okay.
my point is, if you're already meeting our tests,
Okay.
then perhaps we can move forward and, you just add one more to the list,
Four out of 5's okay.
Yeah.
right? So,
I
Well,
think
that
you're
way,
better
when you
off.
go talk to the
Yeah,
next,
exactly.
the Harbor Committee, you
'Cause I'm
have
fine,
everybody
I'm-
on board, so
Exactly.
I'm fine with
where
this.
can we go from this?
so my question, though, is the annual monitoring,
Okay,
because that's an important consideration. Who does it? Who do you, is it?
it's gonna be us,
Good,
A.M. Weber Associates.
okay,
And we've actually talked with the Department of State, and they've requested that we not only do the monitoring, but we provide a report to them. And all agencies are gonna get it, because this is a lesson learned for all of us. As we
Sure.
work our way through this process, we all need to review and say, hey, what's going on here? Because with all these minds, and all these minds with the other agencies, I think we'll get it right. If things go south somehow. But again, I think it's important that we keep the feedback going after the permit.
100%.
Yeah, no, it's
Might
critical.
give it a-
Is it for 5 years?
Site walk.
5 years,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah,
All
we
right.
advise the client of that, it's a 5-year process.
Harbor Committee.
Harbor
We're gonna
Committee
keep
would
notifying everybody what's going on, and we'll see
Nobody
that
else
input
waited.
once I do our report. If everything's going good, that's fine, but if things aren't, don't go, or we see something different, we want to
Good,
perhaps come back to the board, go back to the DEC, Department of State again. Department of State has asked us, and I've also had Stony Brook University has approached me about these concepts, this design, and Sea Grant, and also the Conic
estuary
Estuary
program?
Group.
Yeah.
They want to meet with us also about this design. So I'm going to meet with them and hopefully have them come on board with us to help do the review as we go through the process, once we start
That's
construction.
good.
James, you had a question?
Yeah, I just recommend that language be put on the permit, in the description of work, that.
Not in the special conditions, that there's annual monitoring that's
Right.
to be done. What time of year are you gonna do that?
4 times.
No, what time of year?
For the annual.
No, for the
report.
annual module will be conducted, I have a plan here, a monitoring plan. And we're going to conduct it for 5 years. It's going to be conducted 3 times a year, May 1st,
Oh.
August 1st, and October.
Great,
Before, during,
got it.
and after.
Okay,
growth,
and then one report,
And the reports will be submitted to all agencies.
okay,
And it's gonna have the conditions, shorelines, distances off, a bunch of common objectives, mean high water, mean low water, the rocks. We're gonna look at structural stability, say, hey, if anything's settling. We're gonna do vegetation analysis on root density, stem coverage, upland, wetland. We'll take photographs from all the same fixed points every time. And then we'll do some near map photography. We'll, if it's applicable, we'll get it in there at least to give it that overview. And if any of the rock sills, we're also gonna observe marine plants, animals, barnacles, things that are attached organisms, grasses, and relative abundance, and then we'll talk about, if the rock sills start moving a little bit, we'll talk about that too. So that's kind of our analysis.
okay, that's good. It's too bad there's not a way to include installation of eelgrass in here too. No?
It's like putting something on top of my head, I don't know if it's gonna work.
Well, I can speak to that and point out, we've done multiple eelgrass plantings in Sag Harbor Cove over the last 20 years, and they've all been not very successful. None of them have been more successful than a year.
I know.
There's something that's happened.
So-
I just want to give you a heads up that in the 30 years that I've been fishing and working in Sag Harbor Cove, the shoreline is completely or has almost vanished all the way around, all the spartina and all the other natural vegetation. I don't know if it's something with the tidal fluctuation, something in the water, or the amount of, geese that are down there, which really predate on the grass. I mean, you'll put a nice project, and I can see the 50 or 60 Canadian geese come along, and just take it out within a couple weeks.
And then pulling out, this is newly planted grasses?
Old grasses.
Even old grass?
Yeah, the
Doing a
whole
pretty good
north
job.
side, the whole north side of Upper Sag Harbor Cove along Long Beach, almost all the vegetation is going out of there now.
But doesn't that have to do with the poor water quality in the cove?
This is, I don't know if it's poor, the water quality, it's specifically something inherent to that part of the cove
Yeah, I
there.
mean, you know, in my report here, you kind of see it all coming back here, you know, this is where all the vegetation washes had been. So, you know, my belief, of course, is that it was, you know, wave action, predation, stuff like that, but it's not to say that you can't have another effect, you know, predation, and that we can't even measure, you know,
Yeah.
but you observe, and the observation's
Yeah.
more important than what I see physically here. So if in fact they change their diet and are actually feeding on spot tine walls and floor, are they feeding on the salt?
The root, they just ripped the roots
Just rip
right out,
everything out?
yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
kind of sandy soil there? or it's-
Yes, it is, yeah.
Oh, boy.
You got the waves, and you got the geese.
Yeah.
There's like 100 geese, what?
The-
I chase them from house to house.
Well, you know,
The-
yeah.
The living,
Work harder.
the living
Yeah.
shoreline that was installed in West Hampton on Rich's Bay, they covered the plantings, yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, definitely. I mean, I will have to advise Mr. Spiegel, he's gonna be looking at some nice mylar stuff and the fishing lines and stuff like that, but if that's what we have to do, because it's
Until
almost,
it
was it
established.
installed on a year-round basis then over in West Hampton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah, you know, because that's, we don't wanna go through a failure, because that's such a great, we'll put a goose,
If you put net in them, they don't like to walk to the net, because it gets stuck in their feet and they stick their heads.
that's on the seaward side, or?
Yeah, where they're gonna
Okay.
go up. They're not gonna fly into it. 'cause
30
it's
years
not
ago, they were
natural.
migratory birds, now they're year-round birds.
Okay, we'll definitely put a goose predation plan in, and we can get you a copy of what I designed.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, the monitoring would be great, and putting
Yeah.
it in the cover sheet and the description of work, rather than in the special conditions. Then we can move this forward then, okay, with the hope that,
Yeah.
the harbor
You can even
committee.
take the cheap plastic, that's what I use, I put it on, tie it to 2-inch PVC pipe and lay it down, and they won't walk over it. Then you take,
Kind of like a cattle gate, yeah.
then you take it away when it gets grown.
Okay.
Do we need stamp plans for this kind of project, or is?
We would ask for landscape architect
Yeah,
stamp plans, that's what we have in the
For
past.
consistency, you're gonna need a stamp plan.
Okay, we get one.
So stamp plans and a cover sheet with the new language of the
Yeah.
monitoring plan.
Okay.
And,
To plan,
report.
and I'll add goose predation to that.
Yep.
Can't hurt.
Will
Yeah.
work. We'll let you know what works, what doesn't work.
Yes.
Thanks.
There was
That's great
there was a
advice.
nice article in Newsday about living shorelines and stuff.
Yeah.
Which people are getting the concept, it's reality now.
And that's what I've been telling people, you know.
It's cheaper
The
than
day of the
lumber.
bulkhead, the day of the rock wall, they're gone. We really have to start
Right.
looking at these type of.
You just gotta get the
shorelines, yeah.
formula correct,
But
and
they're,
that's what everybody's doing.
they're so site-specific, and
They
the monitoring is a critical aspect of them, because we have to figure them out as we go along.
Right.
Yep.
That's the thing,
It's
getting
a learning
the
science
formula.
for sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Absolutely.
right, well,
Thank you so much. Happy
thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
you as
Congratulations
well.
on my new victories.
thank you.
Galapina LLC, 33 Bluff Point Road, B. Lang Associates.
Morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Dana. Okay, this is, project poses to install 92-foot by 4-foot fixed pier through flow decking.
76 feet. We've reduced the size of the catwalk to a total of 76 feet and 60
Thank you.
feet from the ground. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't have an updated cover sheet that I'm looking at. So just check those plans and see what the date is on them. Make sure.
November 13th,
23.
23, yes.
Okay, good.
We need an updated cover sheet, correct? Or
Yeah, we
did you get
need
that
an
too?
I
update.
think I sent one, you had emailed me and I sent one over last week.
It might not have come in yet because we requested it the end of last week.
Yes, it was. Mhm.
So this is project on Sag Harbor Cove for a fixed pier with the floating dock. There are,
No floating dock.
No floating dock.
No, we removed the ramp, the floating dock, because we really couldn't get to the depths
There's
that
no
were
depth of
required
water.
within that
Yeah.
60 feet.
Okay.
So now we're back to just a fixed catwalk. There was one there previously.
Yes, it was.
And we talked about previously, like maybe ending at about 25 feet, but 25 feet, there's 0 water. So there's no
Can you
water
do an
between.
overhead shot on this, please?
There's no water between like 25, 30, 40 feet at mean low. So we got past there at 60 feet, there's a 1.5 feet.
Right. James, if you just draw back on it, as you can see from the surrounding properties, everything is very close to shore here because of the situation with very little water. So the possibility of a boat at this dock is slim. We had suggested, did you put a ladder on?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
A ladder
Okay.
and a all-weather light at the terminus end of the pier.
So the all-weather light, that's something that's in our regulations, and Dana was following that. That's something that the board wishes to have, because
Yeah.
that's,
I mean, there's not a lot of boat traffic in there, so, I mean, it's not like it's on Shinnecock Canal or something like that, or where there's a lot of boat traffic. I mean, it'd be all right, because, I mean, I don't see any problems with wildlife or anything like that, so.
The only thing is you need electrical permit from the town.
Right. Unless you do a solar light.
Do a solar light. it's
Solar
easier.
light, okay, that makes sense. Mhm.
You have to also do the night thing.
The solar makes
Dark
more sense.
skies compliant, yeah.
But also on your dock, see where your posts are?
Mhm.
I would just bring the post up above the platform.
Okay,
It's, what, the 34 inches, I think, is max allowed above.
Yeah, well, even if you just bring it up like a foot, just enough so you mark the edge, then if you ever do tires at high tide, tie something up along, it doesn't fetch up on it.
okay.
Becomes more of a functional dock, this way it's not really a
Yeah.
functional dock, you can't really.
Because I walk on catwalks where there's no edge, and, you lose the edge sometimes.
Okay. Yep, that's not a problem at all.
No, I think it's more for safety.
so we need an updated cover sheet. We,
Received already, we just
okay,
gone through.
okay, it hasn't gone through our process, so I'm terribly sorry. We will look for our
That's fine.
updated, we will bring in our updated cover sheet. With trustee Pell's note about, the
Pilings being.
pilings being
The
higher, do we need
4x4s.
change in the
We need
plans?
the plans, but we need them stamped anyway, so.
Okay,
Right.
You can just show the
It should be
pilings
tough.
above the deck of the,
Yeah.
above the deck.
Okay.
And yeah, you already had a ladder on there.
Yes, we put a ladder, the light, and we'll get the plans stamped as well.
and this meets pier line because although the dock is 76 feet overall, it's 60 feet from mean
Yep.
high water.
Yeah.
That's what the test is.
So,
James, we're good?
I believe so.
Okay,
Good,
we can
I
move this
I
forward
see
then.
sometimes people keep the post up, then they just put rope for a handrail. Or you keep a wall.
Okay.
Or you just have to, put it in your plans. How high? You don't have to put the rope in,
Okay.
but you can put whatever height you want the 4x4s. Above the decking.
Yes.
And then if your client intends to keep his boat in the area, he just needs a mooring application. I don't know what his plan is or how big his boat is, but how much it
That wouldn't be
draws.
part of this application.
Yeah, no,
That
no,
wouldn't
but
have
just,
nothing to do with this
that's,
application. That'd be
but-
separate.
Okay.
but.
That's just for information.
it's- yes.
future reference.
Yeah.
That's just so that you know the
Yes.
proper procedure for this.
Okay.
Okay, I think
Yeah.
we're
Don't wanna
good.
overload you.
Okay, so I'll make those changes to plans, and if there needs to be another update to the cover sheet, just let me know.
Yep.
I think we're
I think it might be kind of where we are right today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Very
Have
good.
a good
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
you
Thank you, you
too.
too.
Congratulations, everybody.
Go back to, I guess, Jeff, right?
Hey, Jeff. How's everything on 183 Thrill Road? I was up there yesterday, matter of fact.
You.
All right, so we did
You're up.
the, based on the meeting we had last month, or the month before, I think it was October, actually, last month, we amended the plan quite a bit here. The concern of the trustees was the projection of the proposed dock with the floating dock, and tying a boat up to the floating dock. Originally, originally we had it 28 feet long for a fixed pier, and then the potential to put a floating dock, a boat onto the side of that, that would project that another, say, 10 or 12 feet. So that's an additional 20 feet that we removed. So we modified the location, the length of the proposed fixed pier to 20 foot away from the existing face of the bulkhead. So that's gonna be the maximum projection. If anything, it would just be 20 feet out, which really widens out that area that was concerned with boat traffic in the marina across the street. In addition to that, we also created additional open space, I should say, bay bottom back to a wetlands, a seaward space. So we removed land and we're giving back water on the north side. So where you can see the dashed line is the existing bulkhead. We widened it out to the north and adding in boat basin area, which will include dredging, and then added in a ramp and a floating dock in the center with one tie-off pile. So the whole project here is really lessen the impact out into the width of the canal, and then increase surface area for the boat docking areas.
So that north side,
Yes.
there's a bulkhead that's protruding out into the canal a bit? Like
This-
outside?
No.
This
No.
line right here is the existing bulkhead, correct?
Yeah, the dashed line's the existing.
And
That's
then,
right, this is the old bulkhead.
so
Yeah.
that's being
Okay.
removed and then added, you
The
know.
hashed part is all new bulkhead?
That's the hash,
That's
the hash is the decking
decking.
behind the bulkhead.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
bulkhead is this black
Okay.
line.
All right. And then what's going out into the creek?
We have a 20-foot wide, 4 by 20 foot, 4 foot wide, 20-foot long fixed pier. And that's to gain access to the side of the boat. And then in the center of that little boat basin that's been created, or actually widened, is gonna be what size are we going with here? A 3-foot wide by 14-foot long ramp and a 6 by 20 floating dock.
Okay, so the floating dock's in the middle?
In the middle, yeah.
Of the boat
So it's
slip.
potential for two vessels.
Actually, 3.
You can't,
You can only do 2 by regulation.
two.
2, but there's enough room for 3, that's the trouble.
No, where?
so
make
you,
it- you're making
technically,
that
you could put
wider.
one on the inside here and
Yeah.
one here
What's
and
the-
then one here.
Well, so
I
we
can't
No,
read that
like-
width, what's that width?
17 feet, because he has a
17
big
feet.
boat. So I believe the beam of the boat is like 14 feet.
How big a boat is it?
I think it's a 40,
So
42.
it's gotta be at least
What's
14,
that?
15.
Yeah, it's like a 14-foot beam, if I recall.
So how much is that projecting out into the canal?
It's only 20 feet.
No,
It's
but,
The
project.
the width
boat-
of the bulkhead is
the boat- no,
25
the-
feet,
with
and
the-
the pier is 20 feet. So it's a total of 45 feet
Okay.
from,
But you're going
So-
landward with a chunk of that.
yes.
And the
Yeah.
boat will then be completely, a 40-foot boat will be completely enclosed within the boat slip?
Within the boats, within, yes.
protrude into the
No protrusion out in, which is.
probably a little bit, because you're not gonna put your bow right up against that bulkhead.
Yeah, but still, it's gonna be not a
Basically.
yeah.
And on the south side where there's 12-foot wide, that leaves for his little boat, little small area. And obviously, there's no potential for docking on the north side of that fixed pier.
You have to get away with some of that decking, because you don't need decking around the whole way.
Okay?
Because you already have some grass. You look in that picture and you see that.
Is it all lawn?
No,
Right
it's grass, lawn
Wetlands?
grass, but it's the other type of grass too. It's mixed in there.
Oh, Phragmites?
Phragmites, and you
Yes,
have those
yes.
other,
So-
the other grass what has to get wet,
How wide a capping how wide a capping is
Yeah,
this
'cause I
plan
went up there
called?
with a boat yesterday.
It's gonna be, that deck will be integral to the capping, so it'll be 4 foot wide from the face of the bulkhead.
Okay.
You need a buffer, you need the 6 feet of buffer behind
Buffer.
this bulkhead.
6
But,
foot.
but
If-
to trustee Pell's point, so if we remove some of the decking, if you had access for the catwalk on the north side, some decking there, but then removed some of the decking on the south side and along the eastern
Yeah, you only.
section,
you
just
only-
so that there's access.
From the ramp, from the boat ramp,
Yep.
from the ramp going down,
Yeah,
so
you-
we'll take it from the south out.
Yep.
Everything from the south of that ramp. and
Actually,
then
you only
around.
need it from, you only need it on the north side in a small piece
Yep.
from the thing. You don't need the whole end because you're not gonna,
Yeah.
that's a waste.
So
Yeah.
just leave a deck
Access
as
to get to the
access
ramp.
to the
Okay.
floating dock, and then
And-
access to
Everything
the-
south of that,
the
remove and
catwalk. So remove the
vegetate.
majority of it and
So-
install.
Which is why I asked the question, so how wide, you gonna go with the 2-foot capping?
It will be now, whatever the width of, it's gonna be 8, 10, it's gonna be about 2 feet. Yeah.
Which is capping, yeah.
It's really just capping, because you have the face well, if we do a navy wall here.
Yeah.
Face well, rear well. with
So
the-
you'll be able to get
And the
around.
rest would be the buffer,
So you'll
vegetated buffer.
you'll have an ability to at least get around the
Yeah.
capping.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I
You're
don't have a
confused.
point here, easy.
So-
So if we could do up in here, this is fine. Would we be able to do here, down, and
No.
then stop right here?
No.
Or you don't want anything here, stop it right here?
Yeah,
Stop
to-
Stop it there, and then a 4x4 here?
Just access.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you'll have
And,
a 2-foot capping.
And the 2 foot capping around
Yeah.
the remainder?
And then
Okay.
a vegetated buffer with native vegetation, no irrigation after the first season.
Okay.
And no fertilization.
6 foot inclusive of,
Can you
is
do
it
an
a
overhead shot,
No.
please?
total of 6 or 10? It's 10.
10.
10, yeah, so up to the bulkhead where there's no, or up to the capping. Because now it's all lawn, except for where? Trustee Pell? You said you looked at it.
Yeah, they go down and right, this end gets wet all the time.
Okay,
That's all wet. So
That will be part of the 10-foot buffer, we'll just leave it natural.
leave it all natural and that work has to be done
It's probably the smartest thing you could do.
from the seaside.
Yep.
Definitely keeping the boat in tucked in there is not gonna interfere with the marina across the way.
Right.
or the passage from the
Oh.
marina down the way.
It's still gonna be
Especially
tight,
with-
because you got the boat, the bows sticking
Yeah.
out from the other people, and you gotta have.
What is do you have a, shot
Distance
that's
across.
showing that distance? Do you have
It's
that shot?
117 feet,
From mean high water to mean high water?
mean low to the bulkhead.
Bulkhead to bulkhead,
But you
yeah.
have-
Mean low on our side, to the
Right.
bulkhead on the other side.
Yeah, so you have slips on both sides sticking out.
And a lot of passage back and forth, a lot
Yeah.
of boat traffic there.
At least good water, had 5 feet all
Yeah,
there, low tide.
it's good water.
So how far off the bulkhead is that float that's there now? That pre-existing float that's,
Next
With the
door.
neighbor,
That's neighbor,
how far off is that,
I
James?
can't measure
I
that.
would say roughly 6 feet.
So as a reference point, can you put a point of the maximum extent?
About 18 feet,
18. Well,
roughly.
in between is 6 feet probably with a raft.
So what are you asking, Scott?
No, I'm just, if you could show a reference point of how far out the end of that dock or catwalk or whatever you're gonna call it is gonna be, how far out that's
20
gonna be.
feet.
The fixed pier.
The fixed pier, so it's gonna look like
The new one, yeah.
the new one.
Go out 20 feet from the corner.
Yeah, but he's moving the bulkhead, so I can't really,
The bulkhead in that
because
position
this,
is gonna
this
be
is
the
the
same.
existing bulkhead here, and then he's moving it. Like, it's
Right, but
the
from
same-
that point,
same spot.
that's the
Same
same,
spot,
so,
same
so it's
spot,
gonna
yeah.
be 20 feet from there, so you can put a point 20 feet from there, and that'll give you the visual that you're looking for.
From here,
Yes. Right?
Yep,
Because that's fixed.
correct.
So if you take that visual from there 20 feet, then you're gonna see exactly what you're
That's
looking
20
at.
feet.
That's 20 feet, yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
still
that,
Low to room, yeah.
so there you go. That's,
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna see.
Right.
Could we see the pictures of this, like the ones that you took? James,
Um,
do? Oh, great, thanks.
I have some.
So it's Phragmites
Yeah.
mostly.
So there's some grass mixed in. It gets
Right,
wet
and
all
some
the
s-
time.
And some Spartina.
That's a
Just
nice
get the
sailboat.
Phragmites out of there, get some good natives in there,
Yeah.
That would be the goal.
Yeah.
get the frags out, and let some nice,
Yep. Well, that's all gonna be removed as part of the construction of the bulkhead, and then we'll plant the native plantings.
Which will make it a nice project.
You know, up there, I don't know if Spartina would really flourish. Maybe we'll go like Cape America beach grass or
It's
something like
it's
that.
too dry for Spartina, it needs to be wet at
And
least
once,
a
because
third.
once you fix the holes in the bulkhead, there's a lot of holes in the bulkhead.
Yes.
Cape America beach grass would work well there.
It's like my go-to always. The
Hardy.
roots are good, it's hardy, it looks good, it's.
Yeah.
But it's
my
not
go-to.
mowed.
Yeah,
So you
Won't
just
be
have to
mowed.
revise your,
won't be what? No, 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 no.
you just have to revise your plans now.
I'll have to revise the plans and my cover page.
Yeah.
Yep.
And get rid of, you're not gonna leave that sailboat so.
No, that's
quick.
fair.
Not like,
Good.
not like the neighbor, bring it to another neighbor.
Yeah.
all right,
Is that the one that floated around the pond, Billy?
No, that's another sailboat.
are we good here?
I'm good.
Are we good?
That's what I'm saying, I don't wanna find that out that the Conscious Point boat ramp.
Thank you, and congratulations.
So we're holding,
Happy New Year.
we're holding, you're gonna update.
You gotta update our stuff.
Update.
Thanksgiving.
No, no Happy New
Thanksgiving.
Year yet.
Did I say New Year?
Yeah.
We'd like to have Happy New Year too.
Trying to rush this year.
That concludes,
No, we have, one more stamp plans.
Yes.
104 point.
yeah, that I know, but that concluded
Oh,
all the other stuff.
Yes.
Roger Ross.
Yeah, that concluded all the rest of it, it's just going to the trustee parish's 104 Point Road.
Need stamp drawings, right?
Just need stamp plans for this, we
We received them.
Okay, and they are in order?
Yes.
Okay, so then I could advance if they're in order. Well, that being said, I think that the next step is. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Billy.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care now. The next step would be executive session, right? There's nothing else that the board has. I'll make a motion and to
Second.
close the meeting and go into executive session for the
Second.
purpose of discussing personnel and confidential legal advice. I
Second.
got a bunch of seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, folks, we'll see you this afternoon.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Bye, Joe.